Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from, whatever
This
time.
is Rockin the Love. Hello. I'm Gil.
And I'm Robyn. And you cut me off. I was talking. I was like, all right, well then talk.
You took a breath. I thought you were waiting. Okay. Very good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. We ready for a big show?
Yeah, you don't seem ready for a big show.
Oh, I'm like back in the not quite ready for primetime players.
Yep. What's going on over there?
It's cold. There's a little dusting of white at the top of the mountains again. Yeah, when you leave your house and it's 29 degrees or whatever it is, that's just I'm not used to that.
And so tell the people what you did.
What I did?
Yeah, you slept in.
Oh, I slept in. That made me feel better. I slept in. I think my body was hibernating. I think I was saying, "Oh
You look
no."
like you just rolled out of bed. If you weren't sitting in your office, I'd think like it just happened.
Oh no, I've been up. I've been up. I just don't look good. That's just me.
All right. Well, I think it's
I'm
cold.
sorry, honey. It's the best you get these days.
I'll take it. I
It's
love it.
not as cute as it was when it was younger, I'll tell you.
Well, that's the beauty of being new thought, metaphysical person. It's like I can shapeshift you in any moment.
That's true. That's true.
Because you're
And
just an illusion, so I can make you to be whatever I need you to be.
I have to say, for as much as I joke about it, it does not look like what I remember as a kid aging looking like. So I feel like we're ahead of the curve.
That's true. I know people in metaphysical, spiritual communities, they are something else. They give you a run for their money. These women that are like, "Oh yeah, I just turned 80." I'm like,
85.
yeah, and they're just as lively as ever.
I remember at Agape early on when I was early on there, and Reverend Michael was brought Forenza up to the stage to announce her birthday, and he said, "This is what 80 looks like in New Thought."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Huh?" And this was 20 years ago, so I was nowhere near 80 as I am now. The closer I am now, so I didn't quite get it as much as I do now.
And she looked like a 45-year-old woman.
Yeah.
45, 50. I mean, she looked good, she looked healthy, but 80, 85, it's remarkable.
Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's good. I think people I think when we get a chance to use our gifts and continue to use them and realize that others value them, I think that changes how we feel, and how we, because we change how we feel, it changes how we look and how we act.
Well, yeah, I agree. And I think it's also if you're living your passion and doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people are getting a chance to do that. And I think in our new thought movement, in this whole idea that, we are whole, perfect, and complete. We're all we're here to bring something to the world. We're here to show up and share whatever it is that moves through us. People are finding their passion, and I think at some level, many of us find our passion later because we realize that we aren't living it at one point.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I'm happy to be living my passion with you.
Thank you. I am happy as well. And
So we're
very
happy.
grateful.
We're happy, and we would be really happy if you would like our page, sign up for our mailing list, and push all those buttons that have hearts and flowers and things on them. It's a good thing.
Push the buttons, type comments, say hello, tell us where you are, and all those things. It helps us because it's more fun that way. We like to know who's out there. So, what are we talking about today?
The joy of the season.
The joy of the season. How appropriate. How appropriate. What's the season?
What does that mean? Are you not joyous?
Am I? I am full of joy and happiness.
Happy and peppy and bursting with love.
Yeah, and joy is an interesting word. I, yeah, I think it's a good topic to talk about. I think different ones of us respond differently to that concept, and perhaps it's a growing experience.
I
I'm
think
hoping.
that's true. I think that's true. Hi, Myrna.
Hi, Myrna.
Clean up our act. Myrna's watching.
Okay. Okay. Stop the cussing.
No, but let me tell you that Myrna is not just Myrna anymore.
Oh, she's not? What happened? I mean, I knew she was Myrna and mom and those things, but what's new?
She's Myrna and mom and a wife and a practitioner council member and all kinds of committees, but she has been chosen as the new executive director of the Center for Spiritual Living in Merida in Mexico.
Wow, Mexico. Wow, congratulations.
Mexico, rah, rah, rah.
Hey.
Yeah,
sounds like exciting. It sounds prestigious. It sounds like a challenge. And I hope I'm interested to hear more about it, Myrna, when you get a chance.
That's right. That's right. And maybe you, with all the global stuff you're thinking about, maybe you two can partner in some ways.
That's true.
So
that's true. We can go super international on this thing.
Yep.
Why not?
So the
that's a joy.
Season. Yep, the joy of the season. So it's interesting that you're using the word joy like that, because I started to look up joy just to see what it meant. And I didn't, and I usually do, because I was like, is joy any different from happiness or anything like that? It's such a kind of a formally word, right?
Formally. Yeah.
I added the Y to the word. It's kind of a formal word. Like joy goes along with Christmas and holidays and weddings.
Things that sort of have titles, things that are important.
Yeah.
Well, I think joy, Freddie, I'll just tell you what I think. Joy is more of a state of being, an underlying thing, and happiness for me just sounds a little bit more like in this moment I am happy. Something's made me positive and whatever. I don't know that that's at all accurate, but that's kind of how I think about it.
Myrna was on Laura Topper's show today, the Powerful Woman show. Says her name was Joy Interesting. That's very funny. See, you're traveling this road for a reason, Myrna. That's amazing.
Joy.
I think that as we talk about the joy of the holiday season today, I think we're really talking about one of the oldest holiday traditions, which is the angst of the holiday season, right? Because I think, starting right around Thanksgiving, right? It's a season. It's a definite season. It goes to Thanksgiving to like New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's a fact. That's technically, when there's more depression and more, holiday angst.
Yep.
So what do you do to deal with that? Or how do you get through that? Or can we do anything to prepare? Or what have you done? That's really what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. I was just sitting here thinking about the concept of introspection and and it being the season of light, and it being the season of light because it's celebrating the return of the light, because the light actually is narrowing down in a physical sense right up until December 21. So wow, it's an interesting mix of this season of joy, and at the same time it's like it closes in on one, and then you have this opportunity to evaluate yourself, and I think sometimes that pushes buttons for
Okay.
people.
Well, we're going to talk about all that after our break. But before we do that, it's time for
Good
Here's the
news.
Good News.
Yay! What you got?
Do you have something?
I do.
Okay. Well, my story today is about a woman in, I think it's Minnesota, that uh, I have two stories actually, but a woman in Minnesota who was at work and a liquor store, and she saw a man outside going through the trash, and she went outside to ask what he was doing, and he was looking for cardboard to put on his feet for shoes. And so
Mhm.
she literally gave him the shoes off her feet. Uh, and they were her favorite shoes. They were a pair of purple retro Jordans, and
Wow.
she gave them to a homeless man. And her boss came back in, and she was in socks, and he's like, what happened?
Where are your shoes?
Shoes. Yeah. And so he bought her new shoes, and I guess he put it up on social media, and
Oh,
went viral, and he actually he went to buy her shoes. He did some kind of GoFundMe type thing, and got like $450, and he was going to go buy her shoes, and I don't know, I don't know what he asked. He asked her something um that made her tell him she wasn't, something about sleeping, and she told him, oh, she sleeps on the floor because she lets her mom sleep in their bed.
oh, wow,
So he gave her the money so she could buy a mattress.
wow, wow. See, that's a great story. That's a great story. Interesting how I think I think it's a great illustration of sometimes how our compassion can can sort of disappear the further away we get from something. And so my sense is this woman's experience of life was close enough that she had really a lot of compassion, which even allowed her to let go of what she had, you know? I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
Life is interesting. It's just, I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, would I do that? Would I notice that? Because I think I'm kind of nice, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd even think to do that,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right. Because yeah, I mean, I have the same feelings, and I think it's really good. Great. Thank you for bringing that story forward.
Oh, okay, I
That's
just want to tell you
important.
my other one. I want to tell you my other one because I like this one. It's like a movie. Um, it actually was the theme of a movie, but there's this small town in Belgium, and with 165 residents, and every week they play the lottery to, I mean, the local shopkeeper organizes a group for a pot drawing, and each person contributes like $20, and they won. They won $150 million, which they'll split, and it'll pay out $915,000 to each individual. But
So the town joins in the big lottery
town
every
joins in the
month.
big lottery.
Oh, wow.
So they won $915,000, and they have different dreams. Like, somebody's like, I'm going to go to America for 3 months and do this and that. And somebody else is, gonna go to the Grand Canyon and hike the Grand Canyon for a few months or whatever. And other people said they'll give it to their kids and their grandkids. So yeah, I just thought, how cool! I mean, I don't know. That's uplifting a whole community. you know.
Yeah, yeah. And what a great thought to do it all together. Um, and so that it benefits so many people so directly. Wow. I'll be interested to hear what happens in the town next.
Yeah, Myrna says she would go buy shoes and keep hers. She thinks
Uh,
I'd do it too. And I think you're right, Myrna, but I think I would do that. I would go buy shoes. But like in the moment, because you couldn't go, you're at work, you can't go, wait here. I'll be right back. Like, and so in my mind, I would get to that point where I'll be like, I'll go buy shoes. And then the reality of that would, like, I can't do it now. How am I going to get them to him? Da, 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 would like take me out of the game.
right.
What I mean? Or not always, I'm sure. And thank you for your faith.
Kind words.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to believe that that's true. I mean, and I get it. I'd like to believe that I'd find a way to make a difference. But yeah, I think sometimes just the reality of the situation takes me out.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your good news?
All right. So I have two as well, and mine are environmental newses.
Okay.
First of all, at Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, close to where you are, they came one step closer to fusion energy, which is clean atomic energy. And they were able to produce enough energy to boil like 10 pots of water.
Wow.
Which doesn't sound like much, but the whole point is to figure out how to do what needs to be done and actually create more energy than it takes to do it. And the interesting part of the article is that there's multiple different programs going on in different countries with different ways of doing that. And so they're all working to get to find a way to make it work. So I thought that was really interesting because, of course, we can get to energy that doesn't require using natural resources that we can't replenish. Then I think that pushes us way ahead. And the second one is my favorite because it's a lot more fun. But that is that these two guys in Japan have created edible cement.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
From food products, even to the point where you could add spices, etc., to it so that if you actually were to consume it, it would have better flavor. And the way to consume it would be to actually break it down and then boil it, and then it could be used for food. So in an emergency situation, you could literally break down things that were built out of this and use it for food. Not to mention the fact that it's all from organic materials, which means we're not utilizing, again, the energy that's used. Fascinating little fact that was in there is that cement production has about a 3 times larger carbon footprint than air travel in our world. So in other words, 3 times as much is created, 3 much as time, pollution, whatever, is created from producing cement than from air flight and air travel and jets.
Wow.
So this could be huge. This could be a huge way of addressing some of our climate issues in the long run, not to mention, waste issues and all of that stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. And you know what perplexes me about stories like that is, at what point did you know you were creating edible cement, or was that always the goal? Like, when does one go, what'll I do today? Or, I've always wanted to make sure this happens in the world. Like, edible cement.
Yeah, and they made it out of coffee grounds. All this stuff has been added to cement before, but now they're actually creating the cement from it. But coffee grounds, banana peels, uh, onion scraps,
Yeah.
uh, and my favorite was the one that supposedly seems to have the better strength, and that's Chinese cabbage. It just made me laugh. It's like, what a random thing.
That's
Seems to
crazy.
work best. Yeah,
Well,
that
it's
was
great
funny.
to know that there's so much going on out in the world that you don't even know about or have time to think about. You know,
True.
it's wild. I don't
The
know.
joy.
I think everyone should ponder that as we take a break, and we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network. And we're back. I'm Robyn.
Gil, and we are happy to have you back with us on Rockin the Love today, Wednesday, the middle of December 2022. Woo!
December 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 2 months till Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
Stay in the moment, Robyn. Stay in the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
24 hours pretty much until I see you.
That's true. 30 hours, something like
30,
that.
20, you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
I
Tomorrow.
do. Tomorrow.
A day.
Tomorrow.
It's only a day away.
Woo! So we're talking about the joy of the season, right?
Yes, and the
And
angst of the season.
yeah, and I was gonna, I kind of have a confession around this, and that is I I the holidays bring up all of my stuff, all my stuff. And my feelings of not being adequate, my feelings of not wanting to, comply with the status quo, my feelings of rebelling. Uh, a lot of stuff shows up for me. Does that happen for you? Because that's not my experience with you at all.
Yeah, and I didn't really think you were confessing to me. I thought you were sharing with the audience. I've lived with you a long time.
No, I know technically.
Yeah. No, it doesn't happen for me in that way. And I'm not even really sure. I'm not even really sure what brings up my feelings about it. I was trying to think about it a little bit. And but I mean, I think that's a really accurate description of what happens for a lot of people. I think for
Mhm.
I think here's the deal. Yeah, I do. It just came to me. I think it's it's almost like we're on polar opposite ends of the chart. Like you go to it's not enough and whatever, and I go to some, you know, holiday Christmas movie where it becomes like, oh, it's the season, everything's going to be okay because there's how can it not be? There's Santa and mystical magical things happening and presents appearing under the tree. So I think that's the thing. That's the rub. We go two different ways on
Yeah.
where it's possible. And I would say in terms of the holidays that I had a few ideas about how we can get through them. Not we personally, but we the people.
Okay. All right. We the people.
All of us. But I think that's the first key is to really take a a toll an inventory of your emotions and where you're at and what it brings up for you. And if we can if we know what our emotions are, then we can figure out the way to manage them, as opposed to just having some unreal or unknown expectations and then um, being upset when it doesn't work out. I mean, like I the only thing I can tell you is I keep thinking, here's my negative thought. I keep thinking, I'm not going to get the gifts I want because nobody's asked me for my list. And
Yeah.
now, why would they ask me for a list? Because we haven't done lists in our family. This particular configuration of family.
Right.
So, but I'm like, nobody's even asked. They don't even care. Nobody's even asked what I wanted, And I know that what I want, nobody's going to get. I'm not being just a naysayer. I know because it's totally random things that people would not go, ooh, she'd really love this. So, I mean, I think it's a setup too. I think it brings up if they love me, they'll know. If people really know me and love me and care about me, they'll know what makes me happy.
And see, you have said on multiple occasions, I'm so easy to buy for.
I am.
I hear you. And that gives me angst because then I think that I'm going to, when I get the thing you don't want, then I clearly can't even handle this so easy thing to buy for. And
Okay.
it's an interesting play. No, I'm just bringing it up because I think it's a very interesting reality. So let me share with you a realization that I had. One of the things that we're doing here at Rio Grande is we've got names, et cetera, of people who could really use some support with Christmas gifts, et cetera. And so there's, you know, we have all these cards with a name and an age and, you know, what things they might like and what colors and, you know, that kind of stuff. And so, you know, you're not here. And so I picked two of those randomly, just grabbed them. I didn't look at them to see what they were beforehand. And I had an 8-year-old girl and a 30-year-old woman that I got hold of. And I went shopping for them. And it was weird because although it was a little daunting, I had much less angst about it than I would shopping for you,
I get
which
that.
is kind of crazy in a way.
Well, not really. Not really. I mean, because first of all, you're not. They're not going to be right in front of you when they open it.
Well, that's true.
You know?
That's
They're not, and they're going to be so grateful. Period. You know, in our minds anyway.
right.
In our
Right.
minds, it looks a certain way because we're giving a gift
A random gift and
anonymously. Yeah. And
yeah.
so, you know, we think that our joy of giving is going to be their joy of receiving, you know, and it's probably way more than that. But I'm just saying we will, you know, we don't know.
Right.
But I mean, I get that. I get that. You know, I think that yeah, it's tricky. I understand that it's tricky.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
I'm just
let me just
yeah.
give you out there, the general public, a little inkling.
Okay.
If you're, I'm not going to out you on everything, but one year when he was very excited about his gift for me and his sister, and he gave us the gift, and it was a vacuum cleaner. I see that, Michael Mangus. I see that our producer thinks that's a great gift. And it is for the two of you. However, women don't tend to gravitate toward cleaning products for a
Yeah, well,
lovely holiday gift. I know I just generalized, and there's probably some out there that are like, oh no, that would have made me so happy. Good. Good. But I'm saying generally.
right. And it was a needed, helpful, wonderful product.
Yeah.
You know, on that side of it, I get the other side, but on that side of it, it was, you know, all those things. And it was from a place of, wow, wouldn't this be great and helpful for our household?
Right. Okay, again, I'm going to go back to what I said. Getting an idea of your emotions, figuring out where you're coming from. If it's, you know, where if there's anger or hurt or not enoughness or what's happening around the holidays so that you're really clear. And what is the important part for you? Is it the getting together? Is it the family? Is it the gifts? Is it what's really important, you know? And I think, you know, when we can look at that realistically, then we can start to either work with it or not allow it to push our buttons. Yeah, that's what I think. Myrna says agreed. And for Valentine's Day one year, my husband gave me a vacuum cleaner. Of course, I did ask for, so romantic. Yeah, there's something, it's true. I mean, I don't want to generalize, and this isn't the show where we're going to talk about languages or men and women, but,
It is a show about relationship.
it is a show about relationship, but I don't want to get focused on that when we're talking about the holidays specifically. But I'm going to say that, yes, we are a complicated species. And even when we ask for something like a vacuum cleaner, well, that means and whatever else you're going to get that's romantic or fun or thoughtful or loving or something like that. I'm just saying.
Yes. And so for me, all of those things play into the joy of the season because sometimes I just want to get through it because, it's not, I don't want to plan ahead. I don't want to have to be thinking about stuff. And really when I've had the most fun, the most whatever is when I have just found a day and gone out and gone shopping and just bought stuff for people and just did it all. And when I can get into that space where I'm feeling happy about giving gifts and doing those things, then it shifts. And then I really am happy. I'm excited to give them. I'm excited to go through the process. But gifts become so much part of this season for so many of us that sometimes it feels like it's a burden. It's another to do. And here I am looking at myself, reflecting, being introspective and going, oh my gosh, I
And
can't even give gifts well.
but so I'm going to ask you: is that the truth, or does that come from you and what you said earlier about feeling inadequate?
Right. It's all of that.
I know
Yeah,
there's
it's
been
that.
many a Christmas with us where said, okay, it doesn't have to cost it doesn't even have to cost money. It doesn't have to this. It doesn't have to that. I mean, I think there's many ways to give gifts without it costing money. And that, I mean, I think that brings me to what my second point would be, which is about, assessing one's neediness. Like, what do I really need to make this holiday season work? Like you said, I get overwhelmed. I don't want to do it. So what do you really need? You said, okay, you need a day alone to go shopping. You need whatever you need. I don't know. But what do you need? And can one take that, you know?
Well, I think yes, it's a perspective, and yeah, each of us has to really look at what is it we want um, out of this time. Do we want that space to be introspective, to look at what's going on within us? Do we want the space to really look at, wow, look what's possible in the world? Um, do we want to be doing it with a bunch of other people? You know, um, I don't know. I think there's a lot of different questions, and I mean, you hear people that are like, oh God, I have another party to go to. Um, you know, it's like, wow, that sounds joyful. Um, but I can see where sometimes that's true. Me, I'm happy to go and hang out with people and do stuff, but it's harder for me to do the other kinds of things. So it's interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, and I think a part of it, if you want to be able to do the other things or attentive to other people's needs during the holidays, I think that's where it's really important to listen and to hear what other people need as well.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
like I read a story when I was doing some research on this show about a mother whose kids, they wanted the mother and father were divorced. They wanted the dad to come over and decorate the tree. this was not her idea of a good time, but she, she was like, okay. And she had to like take her own, inventory of what was happening and, have them come over and while navigating her own boundaries. I mean, I think being strong, straight, clear on your boundaries, navigating her own boundaries and making sure it wasn't an extended evening or they didn't, it didn't go where she didn't want it to go, but being clear and just making sure that, they had that happen for her kids and they skipped the drama, you know, that it wasn't the time to settle the score or to talk about anything else, but just to make sure that whatever uh, needed to happen happened.
Well, we have that opportunity so often, and that is to set aside. And I think we talk about that so much, this idea that really, when we're setting aside some of that stuff, all we're really doing is stepping back from our judgments and looking at a different perspective on the world. Letting go of our expectation of what bad thing is going to happen, or letting go of our idea that that's not possible, or all those different kinds of things. When we make decisions that are outside the box, that are outside the standard, because mostly the box we create. I mean, I am sure that my box around the season is of my own making.
Well, yeah, and you know that I come from the what box family. So I'm like, what box? What are you talking about? But I mean, what you just said that we need to, what did you just say? We need to say it again?
It's that everything we talk about is about, realizing that what we're experiencing is coming from our judgment about what it is, what it
Right,
means,
right,
why, what symbolism it has.
right.
And we're the ones that have put all that on it, not anyone else necessarily. They may have put different symbolism on the whole thing, but that's theirs.
Okay.
That's not
But,
ours.
but you said that and it rolled off your tongue like, and you said, that's all we need to do is release that. That's why we're here. If we could just release that, we wouldn't have a show. That's, I mean, that's what all we have to do is release our judgment and this and that. That's a process, and
So,
a process is triggered during these kind of times.
so if we could just sing "Let It Go" from Frozen, everything would be okay. Let it go. Let it go.
If we could live, let it go. I mean, but that's not the way we learn as humans. We can't always just let it go. So, I mean, that's why even just making these beginning steps of, really, really knowing. I mean, even I know what I know, you know, and I still don't have the I still have expectations for the holidays, you know.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I can do what I'm saying, I can evaluate my what I need and all of those things, and I still haven't figured out how to get it. So, I don't think it's not you can't just do that.
So how do we get to the joy? I mean, what is, we talked about the joy sort of being that underlying thing. How do we get to that joy in our lives in general?
It's a good question. I think therefore I am.
Oh, good.
I think that some of it has to do with um, also looking at what has, the cultural aspect of the holidays
Hmm.
and what we've been what we've been sold and given. I mean, again, we're always turning on something on the TV or something where they're cozying up to the fireplace and life looks good, really good.
Yeah, the Hallmark Channel has 400 new Christmas movies every year, and they all are basically the same.
They're the same.
You
And
know,
yeah,
everybody loves each other, and everything happens wonderfully, and yeah.
which isn't a bad thing.
No,
Which isn't a bad thing. It's just how do we measure our life to that? And so I
do
think,
we need to?
well, maybe we don't, but some of us do. I mean,
Okay, okay,
I've just
fair.
it's
Yeah.
culture. It's a cultural thing. We want that. We want what we see on TV. We want. I think. So I think some of that, like, if it's a place where it's not really. Uh, a lot of times in this philosophy, we say, fake it till you make it, fake it till you get it, and it's not about it at that time. It's about really feeling the feelings, and then dealing with them and knowing. I think you're if you have triggers like that, being able to um, recognize them and balance them, and then finding your own new ways to create what you need and what you want, and give yourself that kind of self-care that will bring joy, that will allow you to stand in that power, and make something happen that you want to happen. If you, like, for example, if it's so overwhelming and it's so this and it's so that, if what's going to give you joy is to stop for a day and bake cookies, then stop for a day and create a day where you're going to bake cookies. Or if it's really to go out shopping, you know then go out shopping. I don't believe that's really what it is, but okay.
No, it's not the going out shopping. It's when I can get in a mood where I have joy about it, and then I can just go and do it. That's what I was saying. So I think Myrna has hit on something very important here. Um, Seeing the blessings of life is where the joy is, not material things. For me, I see joy in my child, in my friends, and all that life is about. And I think that's always, um, I think sometimes we let the ideas of what it is. I think that's where it is all the time. That's where it is all the time. Joy is really in living the life and being in relationship with people, with our families, with our children, with our chosen families, with whoever it is. That's what it's about. That's where the joy is. That's where we can be grateful for what's going on. That's that's where it happens.
Yes.
Well, John also commented about spiritual cookies. I I'm humored by that. And group joy of being in a center or being online together. So the group joy of being together with people somehow. Um, and it goes back to what Myrna said: the joy of being with friends, with your children, with your families. That's that's the space where joy is, and um, I don't know. At some level, to me, that's what the whole season is about. When we think about all of it, is about the light, the return of the thing that brings us warmth and excitement and possibility.
Yeah. And I think if you I think all of it is important. I mean, because I don't think I'm talking about, or we're talking about, presents necessarily, even though we brought them up. It's more, that's why I'm saying, if you but internally, if you know, if you have an idea of what your expectations are, and if you can let them be like um, your barometer for growth, your, you can look at them and acknowledge them and and not aim for like, you know, external perfection, and just really focus on the joy of the season, and like what you were just saying, the joy of being together and the joy of accomplishment. And, you know, I mean, I think for me, really, yeah, the thing that is fun is, the being together.
Hmm.
I love the parties and the family time.
The Five Crowns.
I lied. I don't love the parties. That came out of my mouth, and I don't know why. But I love the family time. Yeah, I mean, I love parties with my close friends. Hello, Jacob. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, John, for your kind comments. But yes, spirit is found in spiritual centers everywhere where people are coming together and sharing together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just, I mean, if you can, again, set some healthy boundaries just around, making things happen that you want to happen, and not, then there's the whole aspect we didn't talk about. Like sometimes people don't want to be with their family. I mean, it's more of a Thanksgiving conversation, but you're dreading certain things that happen, or having to go places. Think about not going. Think about whatever you need to do to make that um work. And I
Well,
think, go ahead.
I was going to say that comes back to that idea of where do we find the joy? Um, and so if we are truly going to walk through any season of our life, but if we're walking through it with joy, then we have to be honest about where is the joy for us. And and we can't we can't let the external things take away our power to create joy in our lives. What we do is we give it away. We decide, oh, well, you have to do this because this is what's supposed to happen. You have to buy gifts. You have to go to family. You have to, whatever that thing is that you have to do. And maybe you don't. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's going to the mountains. Maybe it's who knows what, you
Doing
know?
something new, something that feeds you. And that's why I said
Yeah.
self-care. I mean,
Yeah.
so when self-care goes under from a massage to just deciding you need to stay home and watch It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas. It doesn't matter. It can be whatever will fill your soul and your spirit. And I think lastly, what I will say is, get prayer.
Yeah.
And Myrna has a show on New Thought Media Network, um, with prayers in Spanish. There's prayers in English. There's prayers all over the station, and possibilities to receive them. And other spiritual centers, there's prayer lists, and there's Agape phone in call in line, and there's places you can really get prayer and feel supported and taken care of. So yeah, and that's probably a good place to start. I put it at the end, but it's probably a good place to start.
Absolutely. I would agree with you. And that's part of our introspection often is to move into being open to what spirit's speaking to us, how what's going on. John says prayer is great. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go
All
with
right.
that.
Okay, so what we are knowing for you all is that you have a joyous and heart-filled holiday season, and that all of your expectations are met and exceeded, and that there is just love, love, love in every angle of your life. And so I want to say a special thank you to our producer, Michael Mangus, who we don't thank enough.
That's
And
true.
we are thanking him now because whether it's with duct tape or not, he gets our show done. And so we're just grateful to have him here. And he also has a show that you can listen to on Friday evenings. And there's so many great shows that you can find here at New Thought Media Network. So check it out. And we hope we'll see you next week. And
I just want to acknowledge Jacob commenting about being happy for other people. I think that's one of the greatest things we can do is allow the joy of others to be our joy instead of wondering why it's not directly happening to us sometimes. I think that's a great point. Allow that joy to fill you and move you forward. Thanks so much, Jacob.
thanks.
Thank you all for being here.
Hope you will come back and see us for a whole show. And we'll see you next week right here on Rockin the Love. Keep rocking the love, everybody.